Which brings us to the topic at hand. Influencers and celebs.
Yeah.
In core.
Influencers right now.
I just feel, okay, so influencers first and foremost. So my Explore page has been an education because I've mentioned this before, but I don't follow any influencers under the age of like 55, 65. And all of those influencers, they're taking this shit real seriously for obvious reasons. They're like very much sort of about the protocol. Like I follow this one influencer, I think she's like maybe 57 or something, and she's been like showing off all these like matching bikini mask sets that she's like made for herself out of different fabrics. Like love that. But on my Explore feature, I've been looking around at like the traditional influencers who are like still very much what feels like that 2011, 2012, like the perfect bouquet of peonies, everything's white. There's like stuff precariously placed on like a tray on a bed, photographing while you're watching something on your laptop, like that kind of influencer. And they are losing their minds.
Yeah.
They're absolutely losing their minds.
I think partially the illusion of what they were building for so many years is just shattered. Like, we know you're not traveling. We know that, like, in order to achieve that, you're running around your house like a crazy person all morning before the light runs out so you can get one shot where you pretend to eat a scone. Like, we all realize that's what's happening now. Like, we can't pretend that, like, oh, someone must have helped her, or like, she must be at a beautiful hotel or whatever. Like, we now know that you're not. You're like in your stinky bedroom with the wash piling up. We know that, and it's hidden behind the camera. So it's kind of over. And also this whole minimalist, super clean, just like everything is stunningly placed, like beautifully. Yeah. It's unsustainable in this environment. So to pretend that you are doing it, like it looks increasingly desperate and weird that you would try to keep this up. And so especially if you have a personal tragedy, if someone watching this right now knows someone who's sick or has passed away or is at risk or is a frontline worker or an essential quote unquote worker, which I like hate that term. I think like those people are obviously essential, but also like those are the people that we're putting at risk. So there should be some like acknowledgement of that in the term. If you know those people, I mean, it's got to be infuriating to know that some influencer got paid $5,000 to plug a mask brand and spent their morning like fixing their hair and like definitely had someone come over and help, but then like didn't tell you.
I scrolled through this Instagram of an influencer. She's like German, but she lives in London and she's very, very popular. And I think there's something about, because so many influencers, their fundamental kind of value proposition is aspiration, conspicuous consumption. It's, the material goods, consumerism. Like it's all of these things that kind of hinge on a fundamental sort of quasi-promise because they're not quite a celebrity. They're not quite a magazine. They're not a publication. They're supposedly a person and they're supposedly letting you into their life, but with this incredible degree of aspiration and this incredible degree of materialism, but always with that sort of quasi-promise that this could be you, that there are parts of it that you could emulate, that you're looking at a real person's food, not something, that was designed by a team of stylists, even though in many cases it is. And I think now when the value proposition of like, you could do this, you could have this is so like, no, I could not, nor do I want to at this time, nor do I want to have, head to toe designer wear while showing off your like acai bowl that you made yourself that morning. What is left of them? What do they have left to offer? And I think for a lot of them, sort of like faux quirky, faux funny captions that they put on these like obviously hyper curated photos, that's all they have left now is the attempt to sort of be relatable now that the aspiration element is sort of really hampered. And I think you're seeing now that so much of it is just so thin and they don't got a whole lot of jokes. They don't got a whole lot of stuff to say outside of it. And there's something about it when you look at it now that feels almost like dystopian in a way. Like it feels so strained and like, haha, like I saw this one like boomerang from this girl, or like I guess it was like a video where she and her husband went through 10 outfit changes to do this like sort of quirky like real life versus quarantine. And I'm just like, there something about that now just feels like I almost feel bad for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's now clear that it's now more clear than ever that what made celebrity fascinating, stuff like plastic surgery where you're like, I couldn't get that, but like, oh my God, like look at Kim Kardashian, like, oh my God. But now it's like, if she was to go get medical treatments, she'd be wasting a doctor's time.
Yeah.
And like, stuff like, you know, I'm a model. Are you in your home? What are you modeling? Like, you're going to model things that were delivered to you by a postal worker that has to go out and like brave the worst thing happening in the world right now in order to deliver you some clothes that you can like put on and then send back and waste their time. Like, that's gone. If you're an athlete, if you can't play the game and you don't have the lighting and the screaming fans and the endorsement deals and all this stuff, you're just a guy in your home who's like good at basketball or whatever.
Right.
And that's great. But it does put back into reference that like some of these people, like some of these huge celebrities, without the pomp and circumstance, without when they walk in the room, they're the most important person, without the assistants, without the lighting, without the interviewers, without the team of stylists, like they're just us. And so, like, you could apply all of that stuff to any of us and we would be able to pull it off. That's the whole conceit of celebrity, is that, like, the before and after and the, like, magical journey. But the journey is really just consumerism and capitalism. And all of the way that we've rebuilt celebrity recently. We recently rebuilt celebrity to be about, like, internet points, likes, followers. We rebuilt it from the ground up to you are constantly on display. You are your own PR person. Everything you say is recorded by the internet. You have to live a perfect life and be an example. And you have to be perfectly woke, and you have to be beautiful. All of that we thought was inevitable because of the march of the information technology, the march of society's demands, the march of the way we've changed feminism. All of that stuff felt so inevitable, and now we realize it's paper thin. It's paper thin. Something like Facebook right now feels so powerful because you're just collecting all this information of people sitting at their homes. But it's a good note to realize that, like, you know, it's one break in that chain and it all goes down. And so, like, stuff like people who were cleaning it up on Instagram being a travel influencer, like, that's over. The gay fitness influencers who are like two husbands who just like duel with their abs or whatever they do, that's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna videotape each other doing sit-ups in your apartment?
There was that photo that went viral of like the Christopher Street Park where so many of the people in the photo were like shirtless, like beautiful, sculpted within an inch of their life men in Speedos in this public park. And the energy of like, I fucking worked on this body and I don't care if I have to wear a surgical mask and a Speedo and stand in this park in the middle of New York City, someone is gonna see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what we all have to come to terms with, is that, like, A, nobody cares. No one's going to probably see you. And it's what's going to matter
Also,
is how you feel.
To flaunt a healthy body right now, to flaunt how, like, vibrant and, like my lungs are just taking in so much air. Like, how dare you? Honestly. How dare you?
And, you know, what's funny, too, is that feeling, like you were saying about the travel influencers. Someone on Twitter was like, passport as identity Twitter is screwed.
Yeah.
And it's true. And the thing is that I feel like that feeling of, what were we really saying when we were, you know, showing off every place that we could go? You're not really saying much other than, I can afford a plane ticket, I can afford a hotel, I can afford to do these things. And now travel is going to be something where you damn well better want to go there.
And you better have a good reason. You better be going to see somebody. You better be going to experience something. And like that, I think, is the clarifying thing. I think I've been talking around it a little bit because it's hard to come to grips with it while we're in it. But I think the big clarification for me is that, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you went to a hotel that, like, is a nice background for a photo. It doesn't matter that, like, a brand designed within an inch of its life a coat and gave it to you and then you got to take a picture with it. It doesn't matter that, like, you went to a stylist who gave you a cutting edge hairdo that's super hard to pull off and maintain and you're managing to keep it up. Like, that is so meaningless. What means anything to me right now would be seeing my mom. You know what means a lot to me right now is that, like, the times I find to be happy within myself. And it's so weird because I thought I knew what that stuff meant. I think we all kind of thought we knew what that stuff meant. And a lot of us thought that it meant, you know, I've got a very centered Instagram page. And we're learning that, like, no, it's about, I didn't even pick up Instagram today. Like, I've been writing letters with my grandma who's, like, trapped in a nursing home states away. And like that, it's so it sounds so sappy and over the top. Like that has been so rewarding because I'm like, I would have never gotten this time back.